Hello everyone and welcome to Harv's World for another episode of Pirates Bay Farm. I am out here in the new grass field. It's been a busy morning here on Pirates Bay. As you can see, the new grass field mowed up quite nicely and got about 375,000 liters of grass off this bad boy. Yeah, this is done up quite nicely. In fact, I just picked up, well, I had to come all the way back over here for less than 1,000 liters of grass, but I don't want to leave it sitting because I do need to drop some fertilizer again. Re-roll the field, I should say. And some of it, man, this is some hardy grass because it's already starting to regrow before I could even finish the whole thing off. A very hardy field. Had multiple jobs working this morning. I'm going to put a helper on this bad boy because I've got another job that I'm just finishing up as well. Let's see here. And I do have a course laid in for this, the grass field, which maps the edge of this field, and then I can go in and set this for field work, course generation based on the currently loaded course. Now this is assuming that my working width is 2.6 meters, which it is not, it's 10. Because it's only accounting for one roller and not all five, so I'm actually going to run this up to about 9.6. That way it'll overlap just a little bit. And maybe we'll go 9.8. Yeah, that should be good. And we'll get quite a few headland passes here. And we'll call it an even dozen. And we will generate our course based on those settings and see what we get. I'd say that looks pretty respectable. So my man in the tractor, or woman, should jump right on this. And it works better if you tell him to start at the first waypoint. I'm going to turn all these off. Let's start the show one more time. See, I was right to correct myself. We've got a lady helper today. Okay. She ought to be able to get this taken care of. As she passes by my shed, I can jump into the truck. Oh, and I didn't get to show you. I reworked the lettering on the side of the pickup, and instead of that big black box, now I've just got the lettering, which is much nicer, don't you think? I do. Oh, so where are we at today? Well, today we're going to jump some dunes to start with, because one thing I found by sneaking through this guy's field, well, not his field, but the edge of his field, is I can get some nice air off these dunes. Just some good fun to break up the monotony of farming. Oh, that was a rough one. Anyway, Nassau, the Bahamas. That's what we're going to be talking about today, at least the people surrounding it, in particular one Benjamin Hornigold, who became the leader of the Republic of Pirates, if you didn't know that already. And the reason we're shifting to Nassau today is simply because, well, we talked about Henry Every last time, and Henry Every kind of opened the doors in the Bahamas for the Republic of Pirates to establish themselves in Nassau. When he bribed the governor, that set a standard and opened the doors to a lot of piracy there. So he ends up being a very important figure in pirate lore, as we knew already, but then along comes Benjamin Hornigold. And, well, interesting fellow. He was a swindler. He was a cheat. He was a backstabbing fool. And that was all after he gave up piracy. We'll get more into that later. For now, the soybeans are in. Yes, the soybeans are in. They're at a very good price. And I've been spending the morning harvesting those, and I've got just a little bit left to do on that. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is the last row of soybeans coming off of this field. And this field really produces, let me tell you. Now, granted, it's not small. It's about 35 acres. But it is really, really doing well. I can't complain. Now, you can see money's at about $431,000 right now. Well, I managed to unload about 200,000 liters of silage from the bunker over there. And the biogas plant paid exceptionally well for silage. Actually, it was more than that. It was almost 250,000 liters. Didn't quite get it all in before midnight, but I got enough. And you can see our trees, and we're going to go look at those in just a second. Our trees are very, very close to a harvestable state. I mean, we could harvest them now, but they've got at least one more growth stage left in them. So I'm going to give those at least another day, see if they don't sprout a little bit more. I know they will. I know they've got one more good growth state left in them. But yeah, look at those bad boys. We got a nice forest in there. A really nice forest. Those have got to be a good 20, 30, 40 feet tall. And they're going to get bigger yet. But what that means is it's about time to start focusing on the industry around here. In fact, it's very much time to start the industry around here and get that rum production, at least the first stages of rum production, working. But first things first, I need to get this harvester put away. And I need to sell these soybeans. Because like I said, the price for them right now is exceptionally good. And we'll take a look at that here just a second. If I can get into this header without knocking it into... There we go. Soybean pricing. Right now, soybeans are at $17.50. And while we're in this window, I just want to show you a little bit of something. The silage price here. Biogas, $900 per 1,000 liters. And this is on normal economic difficulty. In fact, I'm to a point where I'm thinking about setting it to hard because this map seems to be, well, more difficult to manage in scale. Prices actually make earning money surprisingly easy, even on just normal economic difficulties. So, and the fact that I have to make digestate in order to fertilize my fields means I need to keep producing a lot of grass. Now, if you recall, I took 275,000 liters off of that field before I plowed it. Now that it's been plowed and is getting rolled on a regular basis, well, that has pushed up to almost 380,000 liters of grass for every harvest, and that's probably going to be harvestable just about every single day. Which means a high turnaround in silage, which means a lot of digestate, which is very, very good. God knows I need it. But it also means a whole bunch of money. A whole bunch. We're talking like $325,000 per day just in the grass work. So I would say on this farm, money is no longer an issue. I think we can safely say that pretty easily. Forget about the cotton. Now I've got about 8,000 liters in the trailer, and we were looking at soybeans. You probably noticed this already, but all told, this field brought in about 120,000 liters of soybeans. The harbor is paying an exceptionally good price right now, over $1,700 per 1,000. So my next task is hauling soybeans down to the harbor and hoping that Benjamin Hornigold isn't down there waiting for me to steal my booty. I think that ship has sailed, no pun intended. Mr. Hornigold is at this point, and has been for centuries, pushing up daisies. We are going to talk some more about him, but for now, I'm going to haul my 3 trailer loads of soybeans, get paid, and we're going to look at industry. First load of soybeans at the harbor. Here we go. And I've got 3 more of these bad boys to deliver. Oh yeah. That's what I'm talking about. 70 grand for 40,000 liters of soybeans. Woo! We are making the money now. And I'm pretty sure by the end we'll be broke. I told you, this is no cheap venture I'm after here. So let me keep running these things back and forth. And, well, we'll see where we're at when it's all said and done. Last of the soybeans going in right here and now. And we'll see where we're at the end of it all. But these things are paying very, very well. Oh yeah. Another 65 grand. So on the soybeans, that was 140 and $205,000 worth of soybeans. On top of the grass, that gives me $636,000. I may have exaggerated when I said we were going to be broke because, well, we are going to be broke because I've got expenses that far exceed that amount to get this industry off the ground. Like I said, those trees are just about ready. But I wonder if I can just go straight through here. I've never gone this way before, so this will be an interesting detour at least, if I don't get hung up in everything. Huh. Gonna have to go explore back in there one of these days. This will bring me out. This should bring me back out right around my industrial area, which is what I'm headed for at the moment. There's lots of little creeks and streams on the island, and they really kind of get in the way, if I'm honest. Sometimes you think you are headed down a decent route, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you're a little bit hosed because there's no way to get across. Okay, here we go. Pirates Bay Industries right here. I should shut the truck off, shouldn't I? There we go. You can see the trees that were planted down here, these are starting to come along pretty nicely also. Now I intentionally did this so that some trees would be ready and others wouldn't. But right now, it is my intention to smooth out this area as best I can and see about putting in a sawmill. Because you know, when you place anything, you need a flat surface to do it on. So let's start with that, shall we? Okay, so I've gone through and flattened all of this area right around here. And I have checked out this sawmill just a little bit. And it's going to be tricky to place, and I will tell you why. If I go in here, that's not it. And I pick up the small sawmill that I'm going to need. Now, the problem is, you can see, in this yard it would be better if I could turn this about 45 degrees. But this particular placing only shifts 90 degrees at a time. It's insisting that it be placed in a particular direction, which is, needless to say, incredibly frustrating. So what I am going to do, I believe, is put it out here toward the middle. It'll at least be centered in the yard, and I still have plenty of room to put my other industries in as well as they become necessary and available, and I will still have access to everything I need to have access to. So I'm going to try right about here and see what we come up with. That should be pretty good. There we go. And now I have a sawmill. $450,000 later, and I will be coming in right here to turn in my timber when it's cut. I've got a spout here which should provide wood chips, I believe. This will tell me exactly how much wood I've got stored in. And then all of the pallets that are produced are going to get put right in this area here. And in fact, if I come back around to this side, there is a menu that will show me exactly what I've got in and what's being produced. And this particular sawmill will produce bars, which are also known as beams. It will make boards, it will make bark mulch, it will make sections, and it will make wood chips. And the inputs are logs. And those logs should go in just right here, like I said. So there you go. One sawmill production is on the way. Now I could end up putting in, I think I could put the pallet factory in, but I don't want to do that just yet. No, pallets are 250. But I could put in the, where was that? the barrel production, it's only 100,000. I don't want to do that either because I still need to buy equipment to harvest my logs. One step at a time, Bob. Baby steps, Bob. Baby steps. So there we go. Pirates Bay Industries has begun. With a $500,000 investment, I might add. But that's okay because phase 1 of rum production is just about to start. And I don't need to tell you at this point just how important that is, because God knows I've been trying long enough to get to that point. The real drawback has been waiting for those trees to grow. But in the meantime, I've been making money, and that's what's been important. You know, between the trees growing and getting the funds together to start this industry, it's been a little bit of a journey. But we've gotten there. Ups and downs. Cotton or no. So Benjamin Hornigold sailed with Blackbeard, as we talked about before. Blackbeard was one of his lieutenants. In fact, Hornigold was responsible for the beginning of many pirate careers. Very responsible for many pirate careers. Blackbeard being the most famous of those careers. And I just need to get over here and relieve this driver. But Hornigold and Blackbeard sailed together. Blackbeard was one of Hornigold's lieutenants and sailed a separate ship under his command. I said stop, driver. Thank you. I don't know what was going on there. That was very, very strange. And I'm just going to pass over a few areas that look like they may have gotten missed here. A lot of times in the turns, especially if they're tight turns, you won't get the effect that you were looking for. In fact, this grass is almost grown enough that it looks like... oh wait, this wouldn't be, because that was never mowed. It was ignored. Completely ignored. Okay, I think we're just going to get these rollers off the field at this point. It looks like this field is in good shape for growth and mowing again in the not too distant future. It's going to be a whole lot of mowing going on, but at least it'll provide me with some kind of fertilizer. There we go. So yeah, Blackbeard and Benjamin Hornigold. Hornigold was a seasoned veteran pirate. He was one of those guys. He's from England. Again, there seem to be a lot of English pirates, although one of the most famous and most successful was from Wales, actually. But we'll get to him at a different time. But Hornigold was another person who started off as a privateer. There was a war between Spain and England. I believe it was the War of Spanish Succession. And ultimately, when that war ended, a lot of privateers who had letters of marque and were out fighting Spain, of course, a lot of that was taking place in the Caribbean. Well, they found themselves without work. They had no job because their privateering was now against the law. Well, what choice did they have? They have a ship and no way to make money with it. well, they turned to piracy. And interestingly, Hornigold actually had a huge following. Over 350 men in his command at one point, and he was considered to be one of the best, kindest pirate captains of his day. And there's an interesting story that my friend Caveman brought up, that at one point Blackbeard and Hornigold captured a merchant ship just because the crew needed more hats. That's the only reason they did it. The only reason. They needed hats. The story goes that the crew got drunk the night before, had a raucous party on board the ship, and they all cast their hats into the sea. And now, since they were without hats, they decided to take over a merchant ship just so they could steal the hats of the people on board. More than likely, it was the truth of it is just to show off how powerful they were. And as I said, Hornigold was ruthless, and that was after he was a pirate. I'll just park this truck right here for now. And one thing I need to get done today, I need to get down to field 10, the old cotton field, and start getting that planted up. That has not been accomplished yet. Probably should have done that first. So Hornigold and Blackbeard terrorized the Caribbean for quite some time. Now, you know, something that's interesting about a lot of pirate captains is that the ones we consider successful, the ones that we think about, the ones that have done amazing things, a lot of them were voted out by their crews. And Hornigold is no exception to that. At one point, he was refusing to attack British ships. He didn't want to tarnish his name with the British government. He was still behaving as a privateer for England and refusing to attack British merchant ships. And his crew said, "Look, man, you are passing up a lot of good cash, and we're sick of it. We want to take whatever we want to take." And ultimately, they voted him out as captain. What, you know, in this day and age would be considered a mutiny. But back then, these pirates had those rights. And he and Blackbeard were put on one of the smaller ships known as a sloop and sent on their merry way. Now, as we know now, Blackbeard went on to have a very successful career, and Hornigold did too, actually. They continued their pirating ways, working as a team until Blackbeard went his separate way. And then, interestingly enough, when Woodes Rogers came to the Bahamas, offering pardons to the pirates if they would become good English citizens once again, stop committing their acts of piracy, they would be absolved of all of their crimes. Benjamin Hornigold said, "Sign me up. I want to be a good English citizen one more time." And he accepted Woodes Rogers' pardon and did, in fact, stop piracy. He's one of the few who actually took the pardon and stayed on the good side of the law. But of course, he's a ship captain. And he's going to continue going to continue seafaring, of course, because, well, that's his profession. And at one point, because he'd had such a distinguished career in Nassau, in fact, he was the head of the Republic of Pirates at one point, Woodes Rogers asked Hornigold to hunt down other pirates. And the one in particular he sent Hornigold after was a pirate known as Charles Vane, who we've mentioned before. Calico Jack Rackham, at one time, before he became Captain Rackham, was the quartermaster under Charles Vane. And again, Charles Vane, who's considered one of the most incredibly ruthless, brutal pirates to have sailed the Caribbean, he was deposed by his crew also, including Jack Rackham. They came upon a powerful ship in New York Harbor, of all places, and Vane decided they were outgunned, turned his ship around, and sailed away, and Rackham led the crew, because the quartermaster, as you'll recall, pretty much has the most power on the crew. He's responsible for the crew, keeping everybody in line, and also making sure that the crew is satisfied, is happy with life on board. Well, the crew said, Vane's a coward. Now, this is a guy who literally is known as one of the most brutal pirates ever. Vane is a coward. Get him out of here. And he was replaced by Jack Rackham. But that was the target that Woodes Rogers set for Hornigold. So in effect, as I was saying before, Hornigold was a turncoat. I don't know why, but we tend to root for the bad guys a lot of the times in stories like these. And, pirates, again, I have said, we kind of glorify them for some strange reason, because they were brutal, evil men. But Hornigold became a turncoat, hunting down his pirate brethren. Luckily, he never had to go after Blackbeard. That was taken care of for him. Hornigold, however, never did catch up with Charles Vane. He did manage to bring in some other pirates, but no one of a stature equivalent to a Charles Vane or a Jack Rackham or anyone like that. But you also have to remember, okay, so we've got an ex-pirate who wants to stay on the right side of the law, and he still needs to make money, and his skills are in seafaring. What's he going to do? Well, it's not like the British government, the Crown, if you will, was paying a small sum for these pirates. They were offering vast quantities of cash for every pirate that was brought in. If I remember correctly, a pirate captain of some repute would bring in £1,000, which is a significant amount of money when you're talking about the 1720s. And then, of course, lesser crew members would be worth less money, but still, capture a couple, you could almost be set for life. Now, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on which side of the argument you're on, Hornigold did end up dying at sea, and it wasn't anything dramatic or fantastic. As many seafaring folk of that time will attest, if they were alive to do so, it was a hurricane that took him down. That's all it was. A simple hurricane. And he was on a merchant mission. He was just hauling freight, basically. And ran into a hurricane. And they say in A General History of Pirates, which is a book that was written during that time period, that, yeah, the hurricane dashed his ship upon the rocks, and he was killed along with most of his crew. Only 5 people survived. So Hornigold led a distinguished life as a privateer, as a pirate hunter, and ultimately met his demise as a merchant. Very interesting character, though. He was apparently exceptionally well respected because, well, he kept rising and played it very smart. He was very smart about the way he handled his pirating business. The pirates respected him. Woodes Rogers ultimately respected him. And he was definitely a leader of men. And that, my friends, is Benjamin Hornigold. And while not the most was accomplished on the farm today, although a lot was accomplished on the farm, grass harvested, soybeans harvested and sold off, grass fertilized, sunflowers are going in finally. I really want this field of sunflowers. It's going to be lovely once it grows. But most importantly, the sawmill is up and running. Well, it's up. It needs some timber to get running, but that is coming very, very, very soon. My next goals are going to be to find a way to put some fertilizer on this field. I might have to bring the rollers over. That's probably most likely. See about replanting field 44. I'm not sure what crop will go in there yet. And talk to the shop about getting some equipment to start taking down those trees because they are very, very close. Get that sawmill operational so I can start moving my industry forward and get the other places I'm going to need, in fact, in place to use them. But I'm going to finish planting sunflowers, finding what other work I can accomplish here on Pirates Bay Farm. And oddly enough, I think that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons down below. I do appreciate you coming along for the ride. And until next time, take care.